Barry Allen, Bruce Wayne.
It's been 5 years since Joss Whedon's Justice League fiasco, which basically killed off the DCEU as we knew it. Despite the fact that a strategy was in place and the universe had a sense of direction under Zack Snyder, his films did however divide a fan base of these much-loved comic book characters. Snyder intended to follow Superman's journey as he inspired the formation of the Justice League, leading to a significant team-up in Justice League 3 to defend Earth from Darkseid's invasion. In addition, we had a 5-movie DCEU plan in place, which would be supplemented by spin-offs such as Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman. When Snyder left Justice League in the middle of post-production due to a family tragedy, the studio hired Joss Whedon to rewrite the script and oversee extensive reshoots, effectively killing Snyder's vision. Superman's arc was dropped in favour of a much lighter, more straightforward version of the character, who had nowhere else to go in his hero's journey. Darkseid, the Nightmare's future, and other crucial elements were omitted entirely from the film. I'm still left flabbergasted that Warner Brothers looked at Snyder's grounded, dark, gritty, atmospheric Man of Steel and Batman v Superman and thought, you know what we need? Jokes, and lots of them. Snyder and Whedon's aesthetics are diametrically opposed. Watchmen and the Avengers have distinctive stylistic differences. Whedon is successful in combining humour and action. He excels in settings with vibrant colours and vibrant characters. Snyder, on the other hand, is a master of the dark mood. His characters are generally worn out by life, brooding and gloomy, rarely have fun and are frequently dark. One would work better in some stories than the other, but these aesthetics clash. So, after 90% of the film was completed and the geniuses at Warner Brothers decided to hire Whedon after Snyder had left, he changed some plot points to suit his preferences. When watching the movie, it's clear which parts were written by Whedon and which were by Snyder. They stand out because they are diametrically opposed. Because Warner Brothers did not provide a different direction, all creative decisions were made with the intention of removing Snyder's influence on the brand, rather than developing a different strategy towards an exciting future for the brand. Leaving the DCEU in limbo, Whedon's Justice League drove out a number of stars while also destroying the DCEU's largest collaboration and abandoning the long-term strategy. Snyder's entire aesthetics, according to Whedon, is wrong. As a result, the studio should have chosen a suitable substitute. Whedon was probably the worst choice Warner Brothers could have made at the time. So with all that, let's take a look at Joss Whedon's Disasterpiece, that is, Justice League. I'm not going to cover every scene as that would result in possibly the longest YouTube ever made. Instead, let's look at the most egregious and baffling scenes. We open with Mustachegate. Cavill had moved on to Mission Impossible Fallout, in which he grew a sweet mustache, but he had to return to the Justice League set for lengthy reshoots. In order to get Cavill to shave, Warner Brothers promised to pay for the upper lip upholstery CGI to be added to the Mission Impossible film. However, due to a refusal by Paramount, the visual effects team was forced to digitally remove Cavill's mustache. And I can't help but think about the poor CGI artists who were clearly assigned the task of removing Henry Cavill's mustache at the 11th hour, because it looks terrible, like really bad. I'm not sure why they didn't have the frame below Superman's face at the start of the movie. After all, it's just a bunch of kids with a phone, so it would make sense that the shot was poorly framed, but instead we get it front and centre in all its glory, and this perfectly sets up the tone for the rest of the film. On the Warner Brothers lot inside Sound Studio 13, we cut to Batman. The budget for this film was enormous, costing approximately $300 million, with an additional $25 million on extensive reshoots. $25 million, and the first scenes with Batman look more obvious set than a Highlander from 1986, where you can see the actual studio lights above them as they fight on the roof. Anyway, Holt McClaney, aka Bill Tench from Mindhunter, is a 1950s cartoon burglar with a swag bag. A literal swag bag. Detective extraordinaire Batman openly addresses Alfred by name, right next to the 1950s cartoon burglar, because, you know, greatest detective ever. He then uses his 1950s cartoon burglar to attract a parademon, because hanging him over the edge of a building is the most terrifying thing anyone can imagine. So why wouldn't the parademon come straight for him? Sure, that makes sense. Anyway, the parademon arrives, Batman rugby tackles it, and it flies around until Batman can land right where he started. Lucky. It explodes, leaving an outline of 3 mother boxes. Then the 1950s cartoon burglar, who has decided not to flee, tells Batman that aliens must be here because they know Superman is dead.
What was that?
A scout.
From space.
Like an alien army?
It's because they know he's dead, right? Superman. He's gone.
The exposition in this movie is shoehorned in with the grace of a pig walking a tightrope. Ugh, how long is this movie again? 2 hours? Ugh. Opening credits show some racists kicking over a fruit stand because these are the types of crimes Superman is known for getting involved with. And then we have the infamous "I tried" moment as Whedon's name appears on screen. I'd like to counterpoint and say, Mr. Whedon, you did not try. Batman, who is known for his dark, gritty, brooding behaviour, searches for Aquaman and then cracks a joke because that's the Batman we know in this universe.
I hear you can talk to fish.
We briefly meet Cyborg. It's genuinely disheartening how Paulie Fisher and his character were stripped of any character development compared to the Snyder Cut. Hey look, Jimmy Olsen. PlayStation 3 rendered Steppenwolf as a cartoon antagonist who calls himself the End of Worlds and claims the darkness will envelop the Earth. He is the most one-dimensional villain. Darkseid is pretty much all but removed from this version of Justice League. Steppenwolf is even the one who gets an axe to the shoulder and is defeated by the Gods Assemble flashback. Anyway, he attacks an Atlantean outpost to retrieve the first mother box with literal ease. I mean, they seal him in a concrete tomb and he just uses his axe to break the side of the wall open with minimal effort. Why did the Atlanteans sacrifice themselves for this? Steppenwolf also clearly has mother issues because that's basically all he says.
Mother box. My mother box. You were born of her. I see, mother. I know, mother. Mother.
This sequence forces Aquaman into action, but their mother box is stolen with just as much ease. Batman gets the band together and he decides they need to use the mother box to bring back Superman. And here is one of the biggest issues with this version, and this scene showcases it. The movie is just too damn bright. The colours pop. Gone is the dark, atmospheric, moody colour palette. Just look at the heroes lined up. They all look like cosplay people.
What are we doing? It's like costumes, it's like Halloween.
And Batman, wow, his suit doesn't look so intimidating in the harsh bright day. Ben Affleck himself makes a joke of this in an interview with Graham Norton when he dresses up for his kid's birthday party.
And it was 10 in the morning, you know, it was really hot, and I put the outfit on, it was broad daylight, and you know, Batman's sexy at night. He's not that cool at 10 in the morning when you're sweaty and hot, and I was prepared for it with thinking it was a lot of little kids, but then I realized they all brought their parents. You know what I mean? So it's sort of like being on this show in broad daylight in my Batman outfit with my scary voice. And I came trundling out there. And I walked out, I saw the look on all these adults' faces, kind of going, wow, Batman!
Anyway, they all fight Superman. Okay, I still like this. I'm a sucker for the Flash and the Superman moment. Batman brings in the big guns, Lois Lane, and it's good to see her save Superman for once. Batman makes a joke in his birthday party Batman costume, and all this causes the team to lose sight of the mother box, which they are supposed to be protecting from the big baddie Steppenwolf, who simply swoops in and takes the last mother box that is left unattended in a parking lot. Superman takes Lois to his mother's foreclosed home, but all his clothes appear to still be there, and then we get a nice moment in a green screen field and kill it. The rest of the team travels to Russia with a strange red filter. Another strange plot point is the Russian family, which reeks of studio notes. As our heroes raid the villain's headquarters, there must be a human face to the conflict. Superman appears and carries a building. I'm not sure how building engineering works, but whatever at this point. Steppenwolf is easily defeated by Superman. Superman and Cyborg pull apart the mother boxes, and then they all live happily ever after. When nothing matters and everything is broken, an unintentional villain like Steppenwolf is not only inadequate to the dramatic purpose he is meant to serve, but is also failing to keep up with the reality. Is someone with grandiose ideas planning to destroy us all for his own amusement? How creative. Because film is primarily a visual medium, superhero stories rely on flawless graphics more than any other genre. However, this movie for the most part looks terrible. Computer generated special effects are all terrible. They look like old PlayStation games that you might throw out on a curb in a cardboard box. On top of all this, there were also rumours about the treatment of actors from Whedon. We get the obligatory sexualization of Wonder Woman with a completely unmotivated image of Gal Gadot's bum as she comes to welcome Bruce Wayne and Barry Allen off the plane. And of course, the Flash landing on Wonder Woman's boobs. Hilarious. Ben Affleck officially left the role of Batman and even dropped plans for his own Batman film, openly blaming his decision on his experience with Justice League. Henry Cavill was widely assumed to have retired as Superman, with the character only making brief cameo appearances. Ray Fisher, who plays a cyborg, has also spoken out about his experiences working on the movie, accusing Whedon and Warner Brothers executives Jeff Johns and John Berg of racism and other unhealthy work environments. Fisher's refusal to work with former president of DC Films, CEO Walter Hamada, who he claimed obstructed efforts to launch an investigation into the production of Justice League. Despite having a role planned for him in The Flash, Cyborg was cut out from the movie. Fisher also tweeted that he forcibly retracts his previous praise for Whedon, which he gave while promoting Justice League. Fisher went on to say that Whedon acted inappropriately on set of Justice League, calling his actions gross and abusive. Whedon, for his part, made no defense or denial, instead opting to remain silent. Fundamentally, Justice League lacks life and soul. Joss Whedon, who took over when Snyder was called away, appears to have made no attempt to hide the fact that this is a manufactured corporate product designed to pander to the most apathetic of fans, whose tribalism, carefully fostered by said corporation, ensures they will support and defend it. Never mind artist pretensions, there is no need to bother with even basic craft when the only success that matters is the one that measured in dollar signs, and they even failed miserably at that. Well, that's enough rambling for one day.